Chapter 10. A Wind in the Park. The wind began to pick up. Gentlemen held their top hats and ladies held onto their skirts. The trees in Hyde Park swayed and bent. Leaves thrashed. Newspapers swirled. Dark clouds blew in overhead. Nanny Mae's eyes left Alex and she whirled, one hand holding her metal hat, the other pulling a ray gun from one of her pockets. There was a crack and a sound like shattering glass, and then a booming voice said, "We are here." Behind Nanny Mae, Alex Metcalf used the distraction to disappear inside the Dragon Stadium. Everyone else's eyes were on the three figures who had just appeared where the storm had formed. A blur that might have been a person and might have been a shimmer. A woman wearing a rough overcoat, a variety of colorful scarves, and a pink stole, and an oddly familiar 12-year-old boy. "Alex?" Dorothy asked. Nanny Mae lowered her ray gun. "Mrs. Which? Mrs. What's-it?" She looked suspiciously over her shoulder at where Alex had been and whistled at her cat. "Mrs. P, we have a runner," she said, and Mrs. P bounded off into the stadium. "No, I'm not." Whoa. Alex lost his balance and Dorothy was there to help hold him up. That was weird, traveling here. It was like totally dark and quiet. You couldn't hear anything, even your own heartbeat. He shook his arms and legs like they were asleep. "I feel all tingly." "Oh, that will wear off soon enough, dear," said Mrs. Whatsit, the kindly old woman with the multitude of scarves. "This is where and when you wanted to go?" Something rumbled at the top of the stadium, and they all looked up to see a firework rocket lift off into the sky. "Yes," Alex said with a smile. "Exactly. Thank you both." Nanny Mae narrowed her eyes. "You're on that rocket, aren't you? That's what you were talking to that boy about yesterday. You used this distraction to slip away from me." "What?" Alex said. "That's crazy." The nanny's eyes bored holes in him. He glanced away, trying to look innocent. "Then we shall be going," said Mrs. Witch. "Play well, Alex. The big bad wolf must be defeated." The wind swirled again, and Alex put an arm up to shield himself. In the blink of an eye, his deliverers were gone. The cyclones gathered around Alex. "Well, are you going to tell us what that was all about?" Dorothy asked. Alex stepped a few paces away from Nanny Mae, where he hoped she wouldn't hear him. She could still see him, though, and she watched him with a frown. "Okay, the nanny's right. I'm on that rocket, trying to get home," Alex told them. "Back to the real world." "Oh, Alex," said Scraps, "I should have known after what you said." "But this is your home," Tick-Tock said. "You're a lark, Alex," Dorothy told him. "You need to stop fighting it." "Yes," Toad said. "Some of my best friends are larks." I had to see for myself," Alex explained. "I snuck away when I heard the wind and the boom, and I tried to fly out of Ever After, but I can't. I get it now." He didn't tell them he still believed he was a real boy lost in Ever After. He didn't want to argue about it now. He would show them when he helped them win the tournament and used his wish from the wizard to go home. "Wait," Jack said. His pumpkin head was scrunched up in thought. "How could you be your own distraction if you hadn't left yet?" Alex waved the question away. "Look, all that matters is I'm back now and I'm ready to play. After the rain delay." "What rain delay?" Brer Rabbit asked. Thunder rumbled and it began to sprinkle. "That rain delay," Alex said. "I think maybe I brought the clouds when I transported here." "Let's get on inside," Dorothy told everyone. "Maybe the umps won't call the game." Alex held Dorothy back while the others scurried out of the rain. "Dorothy, there's something else you should know. The Cyclones lose this game." "What?" "When I got back, I was going to come straight here to play, but it turns out I was gone overnight. The game was over. You'd lost. I thought we were finished until I remembered. The travel agent. I booked a trip yesterday, which is today, and now we get a do-over." "But how did we lose?" Alex pulled out the paper the newsboy had given him and showed Dorothy the article. "The paper said you pitched awful," he told her. She snatched the paper from him and skimmed the article, and Alex hurried to soften the news. "Maybe you were mad that I bailed on you. I don't know. But I'm back now. We can beat them. I know it. We can beat anybody. We can win the whole thing." The rain came harder now, and Dorothy pulled Alex along inside. Nanny Mae, watching a few paces away under a black umbrella produced from one of her pockets, came after them. By the time the three of them reached the dugout, the rain was coming down in sheets, and the ground crew, a family of yellow ducks, was rolling a tarp over the infield. "Rain delay," Brer Rabbit confirmed. "All right," Alex said. "Who's got some socks?" The cyclone stared at him. Alex took off his sneakers and pulled off his socks. Come on, I need a few more pairs. Is this something that's supposed to help us play better? Jack asked. Sure, Alex said. Jack shrugged and pulled off his socks. Scraps did too. They handed them to Alex, and everyone watched as he knotted them into a lopsided blob. He held it up proudly when he was finished. What is it, old man? Asked Toad. It's a sock ball. Brer Rabbit shook his head. Genius. Alex grabbed a bat and mounted the dugout steps. You're not going out there, Dorothy said. Sure, come on. It's a rain delay. There's a tarp. So we have to go play around. The rain isn't going to last more than an hour anyway. You don't know that, Nanny May told him. Yeah, I do. It was in the paper. Come on, everybody take off your shoes and socks. They'll just get drenched anyway. I'm game, Toad said. It's been a good long time since I hit the water. I'm an amphibian, you know. There we go, said Alex. Me and Toad are captains. Toad, you choose first. Scraps put her hand in the air and bounced on the bench. Scraps, Toad said, and she jumped up and ran to his side. Dorothy pulled Alex aside before he could pick. Alex, we can't do this right now. Why not? What else are we going to do? What about the tournament, the wolf, everything you told me about the next game? What are we supposed to do about any of that now? Dorothy, it's a rain delay. It's like the universe's way of hitting the pause button. We can't go back to the bus because it's got no seats. We can't practice because it's pouring, and there's nothing to do here in the dugout except tomorrow's crossword puzzle. Relax, loosen up. Let's have some fun for a change. Alex pulled her back to the group. I choose Kansas, he announced. Brer Rabbit, Toad said. Pinky, said Alex. The flying monkey didn't move. Pinkerton, Alex said, and the flying monkey reluctantly joined Alex's side. Scraps and Toad conferred. Nanny May, he said finally. Absolutely not. Under no circumstances am I going out in that weather, and neither should any of you. It's raining pitchforks out there. But you're the only one of us actually dressed for it, Alex told her. Besides, aren't you supposed to be watching me all the time? Nanny May tugged at the sleeves of her trench coat, clearly unhappy to be reminded that she had lost Alex, no matter how briefly. I shall be umpire, she told them. Tick-tock then, said Toad. That leaves you, Stretch, Alex said, and Jack popped up happily to join his team. All right, let's go. Everybody leave your gloves. You won't need them. Alex ran out onto the field, scattering the ducks, who were waddling around on the tarp. Make way, ducklings, he cried. Alex sprinted for where second would have been, tossed a sock ball high in the air, and dove headfirst into a puddle on the canvas. Water shot everywhere. Woohoo! You're soaked, Dorothy told him, as she and the rest of the Cyclones caught up. She was hunched over to avoid the rain, but her ponytail was already drenched and lay flat against her back. Alex got up laughing. So are you. So, how do we play? Jack asked. The rain pounded on his hollow head, but he didn't seem to care. It's just like baseball, only different. Toad, you guys bat first. I'm pitcher. Dorothy, you're at first. Jack, Pinkerton, spread out on the infield, but play in. Alex rolled the sock ball around on the tarp to get it wet, then started to narrate using his announcer voice again. Yes, it's a beautiful day at the ballpark, softball fans. Wind strong from the northeast, and a good steady rain that should keep up all game long. Just the right amount of standing water down there on the field. Absolutely perfect softball conditions. Ace pitcher Alex Metcalf is on the mound. He's 10 and 0 as a softball starter with an earned run average of 2.6. Just phenomenal what this boy can do with a softball. Here he goes into his windup. He chucks it underhand at Toad, and Toad swung, his bat connecting with a solid thunk that sprayed him and Nanny May, who stood behind him holding an umbrella. The waterlogged softball spun around the air and died a few feet away. It's a hard line drive to short, Alex narrated. Toad was off like a flash for first, his webbed feet gripping the tarp and slushing away the water as he ran. Alex followed the ball, corralling it more than catching it. Alex dives for the ball. He's got it. An amazing play. He's up with it. Turns, throws. Alex slung the softball as high and as hard as he could at Dorothy. It left a trail of drops in the air as it twisted, a spinning spiral galaxy of water. Dorothy put up her hands to catch it, but the softball was heavier than she expected, and it slipped through her fingers and splattered her in the face, sending her sprawling. Oh, Alex said, laughing so hard he could barely do his announcer voice. Dorothy's down. Oh, we haven't seen sloppy play like this in 30 years of softball games. Dorothy pulled herself up, soaked through and through, and fired the ball not to Jack, who was frantically calling for it at second, but right at Alex. He was laughing too hard to catch it and splunked him right in the side of the head. He fell on his butt on the tarp. "Oh, and now the pitcher is down," he cried, laughing. "Oh, the humanity." The few fans who had stayed behind in the stands in hopes the game would start sent up a cheer, and Dorothy charged in after the sockball. Alex splashed her with a puddle to slow her down, then heaved the lead-in sockball at her. It drenched her as she caught it, but it was too heavy for her to hold, and it slopped to the ground. Pinkerton was hopping up and down and eeping, trying to get them to throw the ball to third, where Toad was making for home. "They call him the Leaping Lizard," said Toad, who needed no coaching on how to talk to himself up like an announcer. "The Amazing Amphibian, the Toad Torpedo." Soak him, Alex yelled. The sockball was so sodden it poured water like a hose when Dorothy picked it up. One of the socks had come half untied, and she used it to sling the sockball over her head like a 10-pound mace. Alex covered his head, expecting another sockball in the face from Dorothy, but she slung it at the sprinting Toad instead, nailing him in the side of the head and sending him flying. The scattered crowd cheered. "You fiend," Toad said. He pulled himself up and snatched the sockball. "You'll rue the day, you soaked old Toad." Dorothy squealed and ran as Toad chased her down with the sockball, but his throw missed her and plunked Nanny May in the kisser instead. Pinkerton chirped with laughter, and Nanny May tossed her umbrella away, as she was now already thoroughly soaked anyway, plucked up the sockball, and came after the flying monkey. Soon, every last one of them was dragged into the fight, hurling the sockball, kicking water at each other, screaming and slipping around on the tarp. When the sockball came unknotted, they flung the wet socks at each other, laughing, forgetting all about the teams and the games and rules. Nobody seemed to care, least of all Alex. The proper sockball game never did last very long anyway.